Hello. I do believe it's finally gone live, which is great. This is brilliant. This new whole live system hasn't been complicated at all. Hello, and yes, welcome to my page, Naomi Ella, Motherhood Transitions. I will be going live in here every day this week at 5 p.m. talking about different subjects that I really hope are going to be able to help you now and in the future. So this evening's little talk is about mindfulness in motherhood. So I just wanted to bring this up first of all because mindfulness is something that I think can get overlooked quite often, but it's actually a really, really powerful technique if used in the right way and used regularly. And there's so many incredible benefits to mindful practice that we can instill in our lives so easily every single day that can really help reduce that calm, remove that overwhelm, those feelings of panic and anxiety, and really kind of instill that inner sensation of calmness and that we're able to manage a little bit better. So I really wanted to bring up mindfulness in motherhood first of all. So what we'll do is I will just talk to you a little bit about what mindfulness is, and then I'll go through a couple of really, really gorgeous, really, really simple techniques that you can start to use straight away, even today, if you want to. So most of us probably know what mindfulness is or have heard of mindfulness, and there's going to be loads of people who may have heard of mindfulness but perhaps don't practice it regularly or understand it. It's a bit of a buzzword, isn't it, mindfulness? So let's just talk a little bit about what that really is. So mindfulness is an ancient practice really that really allows you to be in a state of non-judgmental awareness and in that present moment. It also allows you to recognize your own thoughts, your own feelings and behaviors as they arise in your mind without getting stuck in your usual automatic reactions. So what that means is being mindful of thoughts and feelings that are coming up for you, and instead of going down one path like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling really worried about that, or, going into a usual pattern of behavior, mindfulness really helps you to acknowledge what's going on and choose to take a different path that's going to support you, that's going to benefit you much better. So by engaging in mindfulness practice, that also enables you to direct your attention inside as well as outside yourself. So I'm just going to change the screen here secondly. Right. So what that really means is that your attention, your inside attention, is things like your feelings and your body sensations and your thoughts and your emotions. And your outward attention refers to things like, a conversation with a friend, or, looking at the trees in the forest, or the sound of the rain on your window, or even reading a book, something like that. So bringing your attention to the things that are happening in the very moment might sound easy, but how many times has your attention been redirected by your wandering thoughts? I mean, all the time, isn't it? I practice mindfulness regularly, and I still have to practice this a lot to actually really engage in mindfulness in the way that is going to be productive, in the way that's going to help me, because the day and the weight of the day can easily infiltrate your mind, and especially if there's stressful things going on. But the thing is, this is going to really help with all of that. So, I mean, how many times do we actually allow ourselves just space to be and space to think and just to be in that moment and just to be really calm and observe what's happening? So the other day was a really good example of this, actually. And I'm someone who I do work quite a lot because I choose to do that, because I'm excited about my work, because I love my work. So I work quite a lot. I'm also a full-time mum, so I'm mummying a lot as well. Which basically means that there is a little time in the day for me to actually have any of that brain space that we desperately need. And the other day I was sat on my swing chair, rusty old swing chair in the garden, and I just allowed myself some time. It was about an hour, which is something that I never normally do. And actually within that time, everything in my body and everything in my whole being just started to slow down. And I just started to understand how I was feeling a little bit more. Not only that, but I started to have more creativity come. So I had more like aha moments about, what I was going to do in the business and how I was going to be creating things for people. So it was really, really gorgeous, and it really helped me to just listen to the birds and feel that sense of gratitude. So just allowing yourself that little bit of time to stop can really have a massive, massive change on your whole physical and emotional presence as well. So what kind of things are going on for mindfulness? So in the mindfulness, when we do mindfulness, and this is regular practice, this probably, by doing it once or twice in your whole life, you probably won't feel that much different, but if you practice it regularly, that's when the good stuff happens. So mindfulness does things like it changes your brain density, and it changes the thickness of your brain tissue and increases the number of neurons. So the areas of the brain that we'll be looking at that mindfulness is really going to help is the hippocampus. So that's the part of the brain which is responsible for the regulation of motivation, for your emotions, your spatial orientation, and your learning and your memory function as well. It also really helps with the I can never say this word, tempoparietal junction, which is the area of the brain where your parietal lobes meet the temporal area, and this is then responsible for empathy and compassion, which as mums we desperately deserve to have so much of this, whether that's self-empathy and self-compassion, and to be able to give that out as well. So amygdala here, so the grey matter in the brain actually decreases, which means the flight or fight response and the reaction to threats also decreases as well. So basically you can cope with stress so much better. And then finally, let's just have a little look at the prefrontal cortex. So this is responsible for things like planning, which we do all day, every single day, problem solving, which we are constantly doing as mums, constantly problem solving, and controlling your emotions. And right now, there is so much going on for everybody globally and internally that having a format and a way for us to manage our emotions in a way that we really want to is going to be really, really beneficial to us right now and for the future as well. So there's loads of really amazing things that mindfulness is beneficial for. But it can really help with things like our psychological side, our physical side, our social, environmental, and emotional as well. So let's just have a quick look. I'll talk through a couple of the benefits of mindfulness, and then I'd really like to take you through probably about 2 really small, really easy to do activities or experiences perhaps. So now this is going to be really relevant to now. So one of the really big benefits of practicing regular mindfulness is acceptance. Is that it helps you to accept the things that we cannot change. And like motherhood and like the whole situation that's going on now, there is a lot of external circumstances that are going on for us that are out of our hands, that we cannot control. We cannot control what's going on outside our world, but we can have control over how we decide to deal with that, and how we decide to internalize that, and how we decide to come to terms with that, basically, so that we can move forward with compassion, with empathy, with love, and with loads of strength as well. So acceptance is a massive, massive one. So there was an example here that I will just talk to you about a little bit because it's really relatable, because it's about a mother and child. So I think we can all understand how this would help us in today's climate with the whole COVID that's going on. So yes, for example, when my son was about 1.5 years, we'd had sleep issues all of his life, and it's basically made me into someone that I didn't really want to be. I was really angry. I was really resentful that he wouldn't sleep. I felt annoyed at him because he wouldn't sleep. And then I felt heartbroken that this is how I was feeling. So I was fighting in this space of conflict constantly, of desperate for some sleep, desperately trying every single tiny little thing that I could to help him sleep, because I was desperate for a night's sleep. And every night I'd go to bed angry. And I'd feel annoyed that he would wake up and come into our room. And I'd feel annoyed that I would have to get up with him in the morning. You know, I started to really feel that. So what I did was actually become really, really aware of what was going on, and really aware of who I was and how I was behaving and what I wanted to do to change that, and who I wanted to be as a mum, who I wanted to be as a woman, and how I wanted to see this with love. I didn't want to feel angry anymore, and I definitely didn't want to be bringing that forward for him. So I decided to accept it. I decided to accept that sleeplessness and broken sleep was of the time. And right now, and this is going back a couple of years now, but right now at that time, that's what he needed. At that time, he needed me. He needed me to be there for him. He needed me to hold him. He needed to feel safe, I'm sure, to you know, feel nurtured in that way. So with that acceptance, everything just kind of dropped, and literally within seconds, I opened up my heart and I opened up everything else, and I just let it flow. And guess what? It started to work. His sleep wasn't that much different to begin with, but I was different. So when he came in the middle of the night, I would embrace that, knowing that this wasn't going to be forever, knowing that one day he wasn't going to come in the middle of the night, knowing that one day I was actually going to miss the nighttime cuddles. And I started to miss them as time started to change on. I did start to miss the nighttime cuddles. So I really took a different approach to that situation, which massively helped me, and in turn greatly helped my child to sleep better, I am sure. So that's just one example of acceptance and how massive that change can actually have on your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, because I was sleeping better, I was less stressed, you know, my body wasn't so tense. Everything kind of changed. So acceptance is a really, really huge thing right now, and I think at the moment we are going through a big global change that we can't individually switch to another way as much as we'd love to. But what we can do is we can decide to reflect upon that slightly differently and go a little bit more inward and create these gorgeous coping mechanisms so that we feel strong and empowered. So that's just one example of mindfulness. There's a couple here as well that I like to bring up. Is that it's minimal effort. It's great. It's really easy. So it doesn't really take up any time. It doesn't really take up any effort particularly, although I think when you're feeling quite stressed, actually getting into that zone, yes, that can take a little bit of effort, but it's really not very hard. Anybody can do this really well, really good, is that it's free. You know, we all love things that are free. Of course we do. We love to access things that are instant. We love to access things that are going to give us that quick, instant sort of hit of feeling better, feeling good about ourselves. So mindfulness can really do that as well. It's really calming. It's really, really restorative for everything. So there are so many benefits to mindfulness, but you know, I don't have all night. Maybe we'll do this in a bit more depth another time as well. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of a taste of what mindfulness can do and how it's really good for you, and how, from my examples there, how that can actually work in your life too. So let's just look at a couple of little exercises that I've got for you guys here. So the first one is mindful breathing for stress. I'm just going to sip some water because I'm very aware that I haven't drunk anything in 14 minutes. No. Mindful awareness. So let's have a look at mindful breathing for stress. So this is probably going to be a really good one for now, because in those moments of chaos and when you're feeling really high energy and the demands of being a parent just get too much, sometimes we snap, sometimes we shout, and sometimes we say things that we regret. I mean, we've all been there, and there's absolutely no judgments around that whatsoever. It's a very normal, very human response to have. As much as we'd love it, you know, most of us, almost everyone, isn't a Disney mom all the time. So we are realistic humans, aren't we? And we're all dealing with big emotions that are going on. So So try this little technique. So when you're feeling that everything's starting to raise and the bar's starting to raise slightly and you can feel yourself increasingly feeling more stressed, then just try this little technique. So bring your awareness and acknowledge that emotion. So be aware of it, label it if you can, acknowledge that it's actually with you, and acknowledge that it's coming up. So wherever you are, stand with your feet on the floor. Ideally take your shoes and socks off for this as well. And palms facing outward. So you could sit down for this actually and put your feet on the floor. Or you could stand up if you want to, but your palms facing outward, which is a really gorgeous gesture of openness and acceptance as well, and being and willingness. So stand with your feet on the floor, palms facing outwards, and close your eyes if you can. So take 3 really deep grounding breaths. And just visualize all of your energy flowing out from your feet and into the ground. So this will really allow your nervous system to readjust and to calm, and it'll enable you to have some space and to react in a different way. So that's going to have a really positive effect on your automatic nervous system. So the next one that I wanted to talk to you about was the body scan for restful sleep. So whilst we don't have a magical wand that suddenly allows our child to sleep brilliantly for 9 hours every single night, or 10 or 12 or even 8, we can do something about that first initial part of sleep. So as we're entering the sleep state, as we're entering that first part of the night, so at night, often we'll probably find that our mind is racing with loads of thoughts of the day, with the anxieties of what happened and the anxieties of what tomorrow holds, because it's the unknown. Unpredictability causes stress. So the body scan can work brilliantly for calming the mind at night time and just distracting your thoughts and just reducing that anxiety and helping you to really drift off much more easily, naturally and gently. I'm saying this because this is something that I use all the time, and every single time it works. It is brilliant. I mean, you can do this. The other thing to do as well would be you can use like an app or something like that. There's loads of mindful apps. There's loads of really great things on YouTube. So just find whatever it is that works for you is the right thing. It might be this, or it could be something else. So really, really allow yourself just to explore the thing that's going to work for you. So the mindful body scan is where you're lying in your bed and you're ready for your sleep position. So ideally turn your phone off unless you've got an app, or on silent, and then make sure that you've been to the toilet before you do this, because you're going to want to start to snuggle down and just really start to get comfortable, and the last thing you want is to get up and go for a pee. So so with this one, then you're lying on your back, and again with your hands and your arms by your side, and allowing your feet just to kind of rest and just to fall outwards, and again with your palms facing upwards, but nice and soft and gentle. And just bring your awareness to each part of your body as you do this, so focusing on one part of your body at a time. So you could start from the bottom up, or you can start from the top down. Either way, whatever works for you is absolutely fine. So just bring your awareness to each part of your body and just really focus on that part of the body at the time. So if you're starting at the top of the head, just focus on what's happening here and notice any feelings and sensations that you may have as you're sort of doing this body scan. And that's where you can start to send a little bit more of your energy to. So as you start to really focus and visualize the top part of your head going down through to your neck, over on your shoulders, down your arms, down your torso, down your legs, and to your feet. And this is something that isn't to be rushed. So just take as much time as you like with it. And if you come across any areas that, for instance, are uncomfortable, just have a little bit of movement and just get yourself comfortable in that area. So they're two really lovely and really simple exercises that you can do straight away and in your everyday life. to hopefully bring you the beautiful benefits of mindfulness. So that's me for this evening. I really hope that that's been useful to you guys. And I really hope that you'll join me tomorrow, because we'll be looking at dealing with overwhelm. So that's going to be looking at techniques and strategies that you can use straight away to reduce that overwhelm, minimize that stress and anxiety, and actually have some more control over your time and your days, which I think is, we're living in a very weird time right now, and our days are kind of morphing into whatever day they are. So with a bit of mindful practice, that's going to really help you to really look at dealing with overwhelm tomorrow. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. And it's been amazing to hang out this evening, and lots of love. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. And if you're not already part of the Connected Mother Collective, my free Facebook group, it's absolutely gorgeous, full of amazing mums really exploring motherhood in an awesome way. Please pop over to there. We would love to meet you. So take care, everybody, and lots of love. And I will see you really soon. Bye for now.